Right, today we have like a 2018 Toyota Prado. You can see this here. So we've got like two types of head units to fit these. We've got one that has the knobs on it, and then we have a bigger sort of widescreen model. The process for installing them is exactly the same, just one unit has a bigger screen. These will fit all the models, so your 2017 to current 2024 will fit all of these, and they'll have the same. There is different badges, the higher end Kakadoos and VXs have some traction control stuff down here, and they have 360 cameras. Our head units are going to work with those as well, just a different profile has to be chosen. This head unit basically have steering wheel controls, which will still work, and there's a factory USB down here which will retain, and there's a reverse camera which will keep working, and that's about everything factory. So you can see this is the current unit, definitely due for an update. Takes a while to boot up anyway, and it gives you that. So that's what that looks like, and then in here you have your reverse camera, so all of that will keep working. So the first thing you have to do is pull out our sort of AC trim here. So if you get your trim tool in here, put it in, just give it a little twist on both sides, it'll loosen it up enough, and that's just going to pop out like that. The back of here you have a plug, press down on the top, pull out, that's the AC taken out. Then under here you're going to see you've got a few 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm bolts that we're going to unscrew and take out those. So that's all 4 of those taken out. So what you want to do is just get your hand under here and come on, give it a few pulls, top and bottom. It'll come out if you just give it a few pulls like that a couple of times. And then on the back here, all these plugs are coming out. They just have a push button on top, and then we'll take them all out. So that's all of those plugs taken out. Here's the back of the unit. Just put that in the back for now. There's a few bits we'll take off there. Now all these plugs here, so I push down here and pull out. If you're finding it a bit hard, I push it all the way back in and then push down really hard and then pull out. Sometimes just because you only half push down, it gets a bit jammed. So that's all our plugs here. So the next thing we want to do is grab what's in our kit and check that the unit powers up. So we're just going to cover what you get in our kit here. So obviously you get the head unit, the fascia, back of the head unit there, main 20-pin plug, auxiliary plugs, GPS, 4G, FM, AM plug. That's the head unit. A manual here. You get a rocker panel switch to give you a quick charge and a pass-through USB. The OBD2 scan tool. Auxiliary in. Majority of people are not going to use this plug. Our 2 USBs and external mic, we will be using this. Plugs into those ones. Our 4G, our SIM card holder. We've got a 4G antenna. Our third USBs. Now the extra USBs are handy if you want to run our tyre pressure system or dash cam or whatnot. Video input here, so the main one will be coming into here, the reverse camera, and you can put a secondary camera into here if you want a caravan camera or a front camera. Our factory USB retention cable to keep the factory USB port working. Our antenna here, which just plugs into here. That's just our Bluetooth Wi-Fi antenna. Our pre-outs again. So these two plugs are the same. Majority of people on Prados, this is a factory amplified system, so I won't be using an aftermarket amp, but if you are, you're using these. They're an extra USB retention cable because there could be 2 different types. Antenna adapter. GPS antenna, trim removal tools, USB stick for running updates, an 8GB one. 2 easy adapter kits, so whatever plugs match your car, plug in those ones, and you'll just have to swap the CAN bus box between them. So if you're using this one, unplug it from here, plug it into here. And of course the most important, the hydration assistant. That's everything that's in the kit. So there's 2 kits here. One is for the unit's going to power up. So grab the one that matches your car plugs. If you have the big car plug, there's only one that's going to fit. It's got the big plugs on it as well. They can only go into what they plug into, so can't go too wrong. Now we will actually change this on future kits, but you can see here we've got 2 big wires on this one and a small black one, and so on our one we've only got a single black and a blue. So the blue matches the black, but we do include in the kit an extra one. So if you have the 2-wire version, I'll show you what to do soon, but for now just remember that. Go through and grab all these plugs and match them into whatever they plug into. So if it does feel a bit tough, just check. See, I picked up there's a small bent pin there. I'm going to bend that back down, and then I'm going to plug that back in. Now that just happens sometimes because these pins are a little bit off center, but if you go to plug it in and it felt a bit weird, just double check and try it again. See, click, felt so much better. This one here, again, just check those pins are all okay. You can tell when it goes click and it sort of feels easy, that's going to be all right. This one here, and this one here is not needed, so that's fine. This was 2 hour AC, so that's fine. This here will be for the factory unit GPS, so we're not going to be using that. And this is the factory retention for the USB. So now all that's plugged in, we'll grab the unit here. And the only extra cable we need is this Vhedia in grey pin one. Now there's 2 RCAs on here, so if I follow one back, it goes to here. Don't use this one because it's going to nowhere, so you can not worry about that. So we want to use this one here because this one is going to a plug that we're plugged into. Grab the purple cam in plug it into here. Then we're going to grab our unit just like that, plug this one into here, auxiliary. It can only actually fit into where it does go into. Plug this one into here, and you find your radio one here. That's going to go across into here. Now we can just sit that in there like so, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn the car on, make sure the unit powers up and that our things are working. So what we're going to check on this car is our reverse camera, our steering wheel controls, sound, and that's about it. Right, so we got power, it's a good start. So what we can do is we can go into our radio. I just turned it down a bit so I can tell the steering wheel controls are working, and I can tell the sound's working, which is good.
Written by Amy Lee, Ben Moody and David Hodges, and produced by David.
And we got our radio reception.
It also features guest vocals from Paul McCoy of the band 12 Stones.
So we've got steering wheel controls, we've got sound like radio. Then we'll just throw the car in reverse, and we can see we have our reverse image working, and we actually have a trajectory, a line coming up here which follows the wheels, which you didn't have before, so that's quite neat. So that is all working and happy. And now to here, and our tune and volume buttons work all okay. So we're all happy how that works. So now we can actually just go through and put our wires in. Alright, so we'll just go through and put in all the cables we need now. We'll start with our GPS. Now you just want this to have a clear view of the sky with no metal above it, so anywhere on the dash is obviously going to be okay. So we just peel off the stick and we're going to stick it underneath the dash here. So the stick pad comes off, and you can choose where you want to put it. There's normally a pretty good spot when you go up under the side here, and that's that stuck down. So that's our GPS. We've got our 4G antenna, exact same thing as you did for the GPS. Peel the stick pad and stick it somewhere under there. Just give it a press down for 10 seconds or so, just like any sort of 3M pad. That's going to give us enough length so we can leave that one cable tied up. Now we've got our 4G SIM card now. This just gives the internet, internet if you need it. It's itself. It can also become like a phone, has its own number. We're going to run this into the glove box. Probably 10% of our customers use this. It's up to you if you use it or not. We just stick it into the glove box, so if you do want to use it in the future, you can. It's not too hard to get at. So that's into there. We just actually pulled the glove box down. You can do that by compressing each side in. We'll drop down a bit further, gives you a little bit more room. And we've got our 2 USBs and external microphone. Now we're going to use both of these to go to different ports. So we grab the one that matches the car one, which we've got 2. Obviously it's this one here in this case. And then you just plug that in how it goes, like that. And then you plug that into one of our ones. Now that means your factory USB port is going to be working, the one down here. The other one we're going to plug into our USB port we have. Now the external mic, if we have one in the kit, you can or cannot use it. What I normally suggest is I get this all done, so I'll set the unit here, hook your phone to it, do a test call with and without it, and see if you think you need it or not. Because sometimes we have them in the kits, sometimes we don't. We've just learned it's more based on the software. In the future, all our kits are going to have them again. Probably shouldn't leave them in the kits, but we do just because we took them out at one stage because they weren't working right. So we do just suggest try them both ways if you have one. Third USB, this will be handy if you're going to run with our dash cams or something. We're going to plug this into and then we're going to run this into the glove box as well. So that's cool. That's run into the glove box too. All the cables we need to do, but we have this one here too. So if you have a look in here, you can see we have two Scotch connectors like these, which just like allow you to hook the cables in easy, and our quick charge port here. So we're going to put this down just in here, and we're going to run like the power, ACC power and ground off our head unit of power and ground. So we'll cover how you put that in now. To get out your thing here, if you grab two of your trim tools, kind of wedge them in each side there, and sort of work this out. It'll require like a little bit of force, but it will come out. Then under your wires on here, and you want to run these both back and behind the head unit. We'll just tap the power off the head unit. Draw's pretty low on here, and there's a fuse built anyway as well. And this one here provides pass through, so it's just giving you like a tidy place to have like the USB pointing out. Some people won't be using this because they'll be using, say, our tyre pressure system and our dash cam, so they'll pretty much only want to keep like factory USB retention, and the other two will be running like those systems. Just depends, but either way you're going to give yourself a quick charge port, which is handy to have, so that'll allow your phone to charge quickly, just like how it charges when you have it on the wall power at home. So you should be able to get your hand in behind here and just pull these wires out through. That's pretty easy. Same thing for the USB. Tuck that in, get your hand behind. Ideally pull them up to the top part if you can. Doesn't really actually matter on this one too much, but that's where I would pull them to. And then feed it back through. And then make sure you have it up the right way with the text and click it in. Done. So that's it put in down there. Then you can just grab these two wires. Now on our main harness here we have a red one, so we want to tap into our red one, which is our ACC power. So you can see the red one just here, so I'm going to tap into that and we'll show you how you do that. This is a little bit stripped at the end here, so just snip that off. Grab one of these T connectors, slide it in, don't slide it in too far though, grab your pliers and just crimp it down like so. So that's that one clipped on, and then obviously it's a little T one, so it just needs to come into here. So we just come through and we tap it into here like so and push it down. And I just put the ground to that, so that was wrong. Put the red to the ACC obviously. So ground should be going to, now you can actually take our ground one off. I just take it off here because it's it's like a better size wire. It's coming off our cam in plug. So again, we'll do that again, replay, that's ground to ground, and then do the same one with your red plug here. Obviously red goes to ACC, put it in, not too far, crimp it down, pop it open, and crimp it back down. So there's no lights on these, so just to test your power, turn on the car and put like a plug into it, just to make sure you get some charging happening, and that is that done. And then the other end USB plug, floating around here somewhere, this one here, that can go into the other one of our two USBs that was on this one here. So you can see why it gets a little bit confusing with a lot of wires, but we'll tidy it all at the end. So straight into there, so that gives us so like a pass through here to our head unit, and it all looks really tidy. Yeah, it's looking good. Now, so in our kit you'll have this a dual one included. If you have the dual coming out the other end, you can do the test. This gives you better radio reception. So in like the future, we'll have the dual one on like all our harnesses. But if you had one where so like this was still separate, you just have to take the old one out, chop the blue wire, and hook the blue wire to like the blue wire on like this dual one here, and that'll give you better reception. In like the future, we'll have it hooked on and be on the new harness. But if you had that where you had like separate, that's what you have to do. Get rid of the old one, put the the new one on, and you just got to chop the blue wire that's coming out here of this one here, that blue wire, and hook it into the blue wire of like this one. That just gives you a power for the antenna amp. Now there's a couple things you need off the old like fascia. Aircon vents obviously, and there's clips. These clips you can just put a screwdriver in one or both sides and that's like pop off. If you make sure you put your hand above it because they can fly off and you lose them. The aircon vents are a bit harder. Now there's a good technique to do this. You get a couple flathead screwdrivers, you start at one side and you've got this little clips here you have to pop out. Now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom and 3 on the top, I believe. But the trick is to pop them out and sort of press from the front to hold them popped out as you go like along. Now, this is probably a bit hard for you to see, but I'll just try to film it so you can see. So pop out that, and if you press from the front, you'll sort of notice when you pop it out it can stay out. Now there's also the one at the top. You'll feel the whole thing come like back a bit. So hold that pressure on there and come along to the next one on the bottom there. Pop out that. You'll hear it pop out, and you would have heard it clip back in there as it clipped back down. Pop that top one out. Try and do the bottom one again. This is a little bit of a fiddly part, but you will get it. And pop the next one. So that's out now. You just got to get the right technique. So push from the front, pop out that clip and the bottom clip, and you'll feel it. It's like give a bit. So move your fingers along and keep pressing, and then pop like that top one and the two next bottom ones, and you'll like, feel the whole thing start to give. And if it doesn't, just start from the start again and try again, because it isn't too challenging. You just have to get them to give way, and then it sort of comes out and the whole thing pulls out like that. Now, sort of like I said with these clips here, it's a bit hard when I'm filming with one hand, but you can put something under here and then like cover it up and then grab it. So we've taken what we needed off the old fascia and we'll put it into a sort of new one. But when you go to put like these down, just put something soft under it. I'll just use our box packaging there. So obviously these are going to go back in. Make sure they all line up with the little plastic tabs that you had to pull to get it off. Shouldn't be too hard, like so. And then you come in and just give it a few little presses down. And again, you can start from one side and work your way to the other side, and I can see I missed it, so I'm just going to come back and do it again. Make sure you get these things in right. There you go. Now what you're sort of looking for is to see all these clips lock like back in, and that's our AC vents back in. Now if you see from the front, they're all flush and just look like a factory. Clips that are on the AC we leave on there. Then we just had a few that came off the factory one. They'll just clip onto our one. That little red one was at the top, and then we had a couple of these standard Toyota creamy colour ones that went on either side here. And that's that. Everything we needed off the old fascia is on. Just give those a push in. They should all sort of clip in okay, and that's all looking pretty good. Right, so now we're going to put the unit back in. Once everything's done up, this is the time to test the external mic. So kind of just like rest the unit there. Hook your phone to CarPlay or like Android Auto. And so I make a call with and without it. I've tested it, it's sort of fine without it here. If you are going to run it, you can. Normally just like run it, come down here underneath like the wheel, come into like this trim. Actually majority of this you can kind of use the actual like the trim tools and actually feed like the wire in without even like taking this off. If you do need to take this off, 2 screws in here and the whole thing like pops off. But if it is just run into here, then it's not going to be in the way of the airbag. If you do take this whole thing off, you'll see there's some cables running down here like ready. Tape the microphone cable to those same cables, so if obviously this airbag pops, it's not in the way of anything, and you pretty much end up with it up here normally. So that's where you can run it to. So we'll go and put everything back in. So grab it all. I normally try and start from like one side. You can see I've sort of tape things up a little bit. Ideally you want to tape things up in like enough so it comes in and then drops into that hole there when you put it back in. So put those in, reverse camera, USBs, mic plugs, GPS, which is not actually the next thing I should do, but I will do it because it just popped up for me here. This is our 4G modem, 4G SIM card slot, our third USB. These are the ones here can only fit where they can like go into, so just sort of match up how many there is to how many pins there is to what one you're putting in. FMA. Now obviously everything comes in, lift it up and above, and it's going to drop down that little hole there like so. All going to be out of the way when we push in the main deck. You can kind of just feed it as you come in. You can see what I mean, it just drops behind this plastic bar there, and we just come in. Make sure you leave that little black plug you can see out, because that's our aircon plug. Now before I go and push all this back in, what I always do is start the car. You can actually even start the car, just make sure you don't get anything going on. Car started up. We're just going to check the exact same things we checked before. That will normally quick boot, it's just because we've had the power off the unit. Steering wheel control is working, reverse cam is working. What else did we test on the test your quick charge port? They got power coming out of here. Oh, and the microphone. I've got Bluetooth on my phone turned on here. Now this is, I'm just pairing up on like an iPhone, so I'm gonna go through a bit of stuff here, say pair, whatnot. This is sort of what I would do, allow, so it's gonna hook to like Bluetooth, and then it actually uses the phone's like hotspot to do CarPlay. What will go on here is, oh sorry, it was just starting to do it. So like the first time will take a few seconds, then it should normally be pretty quick, especially with CarPlay. Android Auto is the same. So obviously, hey Siri, call Geordie work. So this is like me doing a test call now. So I just did a test call then and everything was good. So now when you come to push the unit back in, you'll see here a few little clips. So you don't want to force anything here. You want to kind of make sure the clips will line up. On like these are pretty easy, you can't go too wrong. And then we just come in and push, and looks like the day it came out of the factory. Fit really good on these ones. And the install, I would call this installable. You can just push this if the car's off to the actual door sensor, it'll turn it off. These installs are about as easy as it gets. You can see that didn't quite sit right. So when you see saying it's not quite, it doesn't look quite right, just try again, because these little clips need to clip up into the clips on the fascia, and you can see now that looks perfectly flush. So that's it, all installed, well done. We've got our extra USB and our sort of SIM card in here. We'll just like tape that up, and we've got our new little dual one in here. That's how it looks. So you can see it's all looking pretty tidy. Looks like it came out of the factory like this, and you can install this yourself very easy. This is out of a 5, like 5 being hard, I would put this as a 1 for an install. All the tools you need are included. The only extra things you don't need are a 10mm socket and some pliers to crimp in those Scotch connectors. Yeah, that's all done. You'll probably be able to have it done in about an hour to an hour and a half. Just a quick one here too. You can see it talks to the car, and it shows the sort of doors open. So it's showing the wrong door here. So I'm just going to take you through a couple little setting changes that are quite common we can do on here. Go about device, this one here, 8878. Now, CAN type, we want to swap the front door, and then a lot of people too. Not that one. I'm just going to put that so we don't see the AC coming up, and you can just push save here and the unit has to reboot. So that will make our doors be the right way around when it comes back on. The other thing I will just cover, these Prados have a JBL DSP amplified system in them from factory. Now that means we've got a DSP chip in here and like an app. It's not going to work, but we can access your car's settings through our software in the CAN bus, so we can still have access to our DSP settings. So all you do is you come in here, car info, don't worry about that, but you got a few things in here, but you want to come into like amp set, and these are all your amp sets. So you got your fade, your balance, your bass, surround sound. So that's going to control your DSP in your factory amp, which I believe is underneath the passenger seat on this model. So you can still control that by doing that, and that's where you do it, just under preferences amp set. So that is very handy.